It's the second round, and we've added a second panelist here for this Leafs series. Pierre LeBrun joining Chris Johnston and I. And guys, it's Leafs against the Panthers. Mitch Marner, first of all, back on the ice with the Leafs this morning, a new father. And people talk about a lightness around a new dad strength. It really did feel different around Marner today, CJ.
Well, literally his life changed from the end of that last series to the beginning of this one. And so you're right. He was pretty pumped up Sunday morning. His wife Stephanie gave birth to a baby boy, Miles. And you could tell that Mitch was still feeling it. He actually spent the night before the game in hospital with his wife and the newborn baby. And he was mentioning that this is, in his life, we didn't talk to him about it last round, but he said had she gone into labor early during that last round, he was going to leave the series at any point. That was lucky that they were playing Ottawa. But, as it turned out, the Leafs got the job done in Game 6. Everything went well with mom and baby, and we'll see if the dad strength kicks in, because there have been all kinds of players over the years, from John Tavares 2 years ago in the playoffs, Brandon Carlo last year in Game 1 against Florida when he was still a Bruin, scoring right after a birth of a baby. I don't know if it's the adrenaline or what it is.
Marner also celebrating his birthday today, his 28th birthday. A lot of good omens for Marner and the Leafs. Pierre, this is a rematch of a playoff series 2 years ago. Panthers went up 3-0. Won in 5 games, but they're expecting a tougher opponent this time around?
Well, Paul Maurice was asked specifically what he saw in the Leafs under Craig Berube. Why are they different? And his words, not mine, that the Leafs play a more patient game. And at the end of his quote, he said they play a more mature game. Now, you can read into that what you will, but what he's saying is they play a more playoff-ready game is what he believes the Toronto Maple Leafs are now. And a lot of it is from the additions, Tanev and OEL and Brandon Carlo. This is a team better suited to handle the Florida Panthers, in theory, on paper. But again, I think it's a compliment to Craig Berube from Paul Maurice.
On paper, the Panthers are the favorites. That's what the odds makers say. But there is some dispute, Chris, between the two teams about who actually is the favorite in this series.
Yeah, it's funny. We saw this a bit in the first round of some of the Western Conference series, where it's like both teams are arguing about who should be the underdog or not. Craig Berube points out, when you're playing the defending Cup champions, you're not going to be favored in a series, even when you're beginning it here at home at Scotiabank Arena for the Leafs. And, Florida's won 8 of their last 9 playoff series. They've been to back-to-back Cup finals. As you mentioned, the odds makers have them and Dallas as co-favorites to win the entire Stanley Cup this year, not just win this round. But Matthew Tkachuk said, hey, wait a minute, we're on the road, and we have the later morning skate. And, kind of reminded me, his brother Brady was just here 2 weeks ago at the start of that series. Now, Ottawa clearly was the underdog, but before Game 1 of that series, he leaned heavy into, we're the underdogs, we have nothing to lose. It's all the pressures on the Leafs, and I think really that's what it's about. If you're playing the Leafs, we all know how this team is covered, discussed, and followed. They're trying to shift any little bit of pressure they can down the hallway.
Leafs lost 3 of 4 games to the Panthers during the regular season, and a big issue for them was Florida's forecheck. It's a big issue for every team that plays the Panthers. Pierre, what is the Leafs' plan to deal with it?
Hey, it was an issue 2 years ago when they beat the Leafs in 5 games, too. I spoke with Chris Tanev after the morning skate, and he said what they've talked about internally is staying connected as a group. It's not just about the 2D that go back and get the puck and feel the forecheck from the Panthers, but the forwards on the ice, too. He says that the Panthers like to try and outnumber you, and he said it's very reminiscent for him when he was a member of the Dallas Stars a year ago in that 7-game series with the Vegas Golden Knights in the first round, that the Vegas forecheck super aggressive and reminds them of what the Panthers on film look like. That's what the Leafs have been talking about. Make the simple plays, avoid the turnovers, and stay connected.
All right. I love the rally towel storyline. Oh, I got it upside down. Sorry, guys. This is the rally towel for Game 1 of the second round. Leafs want the fans to bring the passion, and Pierre, CJ, and I will always bring the passion.